Well, I'm joined in our London studio by Deven Ghelani, founder and chief executive of Policy in Practice. Deven Ghelani, these figures might sound a little familiar to some listeners. We've reported similar ones before. What's new in this report?
Hi, Paul. It's great to be on and to be talking about these figures again. I think the first thing I'd say is our most comprehensive report yet. So it's built on more granular data. For example, we've brought in Scottish Government, Welsh Government administered benefits into the report. But I think there are really two stories to the report. One is the headline figure's gone up, but that's largely because of things like benefit uprating or the rollout of universal credit, which means that as more people become eligible, there are more people claiming, but also more people missing out. The other story is that you've got other benefits where you're seeing concerted effort to improve take-up, things like free school meals, pension credit, is making a real difference, and you're seeing the numbers of people missing out coming down.
So those efforts that the government mentioned are actually having an effect, or that and other things that you're doing. How do you encourage people to claim?
Well, I think that there are three main barriers so there's awareness, people don't know about benefits, there's complexity, it's hard to claim, and there's stigma and trust, they don't trust the organisation administering that support. So examples to tackle those three are peppered throughout the report, but I think the main one, so awareness, you've got proactive take-up campaigns from local authorities for things like pension credit, Healthy Start, free school meals. On complexity, you've got things like auto-enrollment, so actually using the data on people to actually award people things like free school meals, or in the case of Thames Water, putting people onto the benefit themselves. And just finally on trust, you've got organisations like Nationwide Building Society putting a benefit calculator into their application form. So just more residents who perhaps aren't claiming any of the support they're eligible for are getting to find out about it from someone that they trust.
Now, we heard from two listeners earlier about the importance to them of the extra money they've got. In your experience, how big a difference is this unclaimed money? What does it make? What difference does it make to people?
I mean, it makes a huge difference, as well as the figures. So in the case of universal credit, on average, about £6,000 being missed out on. In the case of pension credit, over £2,000. When you think about the difference it makes to people, you've got, we've had reports back from people we've helped to access that support. So a lone parent, I didn't know about Healthy Start. It means my child can get more of her $5 a day. On something like pension credit, we had a woman say, we've been able to go on our second honeymoon to Ramsgate for the first holiday we've had in 10 years. So it's real life impacts like that I think make a difference.
Yes, as Robin explained earlier, the pension credit can be very important like that. But I'm sure some people listening are thinking, well, we already spend a lot on benefits. It's going to be over £300 billion this year. The government wants to cut the bill. We know that, not extend it. Do we really need to spend another 20-odd billion that's unclaimed?
Well, Paul, you can't rely on the complexity of the system meaning that people miss out on support. What you need is a system that's easy to access, and yes, you can flex who's eligible. For me, I think we've got a system that's far too complex, far too fragmented, and we're far too passive about doing anything about it. And actually, it's those at the lowest end, those who struggle to claim the most, who are missing out, and that leads to things like destitution, real risks of homelessness, and helping people access that support can prevent those worst case scenarios from happening in a lot of cases.
Now, we all tend to think that the government, in its broadest sense, knows everything about us anyway. Why can't they just pay what people are owed automatically?
So I think there's a couple of things, really. I think that sometimes it's sort of inertia in the government, but I'm seeing more progress in the last 12 months than I've seen in the decade prior. So you are seeing things like free school meals being available to all children on universal credit. They've committed to making data on all universal credit recipients available to local authorities to run these kinds of campaigns. So we are starting to see some unlocking. But what I would say there's still much more to do. And I think it's not just the government. So things like there's some really good examples, as I said, from utility companies, from local authorities. It needs to be a joint effort. Finally, to your listeners, I guess the point I'd make is check for yourself if you're eligible. Go to gov.uk, use one of the benefit calculators on there, but also check for others. And if you talk to other people about it, just to try and destigmatize, but also just helping tackle and bring this number down. Because I think things like auto-enrollment that's where you see the biggest difference. You see like 90% plus take-up. So it can be really powerful.
That's where people are automatically enrolled into a pension at work, isn't it? Deven Ghelani, thank you very much for that. Deven Ghelani from Policy and Practice.